The biggest is they wait too long to ask for help. Yeah, especially this area, the mountain mentality. We're independent. We're gonna, suck it up as long as we can. But if you wait too long, then by the time you need help, you're screaming for help, and people are saying, "How can I help you?" I don't know. It's overwhelmed. And so if you can be humble and say, "Okay, I can really use some help now."
Hi, I'm Betsy, publisher and host with Carolina Living Choices, and we welcome you to Ask the Expert, a series where we connect trusted local professionals to talk about the topics that matter most to older adults and their families here in Western North Carolina. Today, we're continuing our Aging in Place series, focusing on how individuals and families can plan ahead to safely stay at home in the convenience of their house and make a plan. Today, I am joined by Edward Jones, a family caregiver specialist with the Area Agency on Aging, Land of Sky. He provides services for family members or friends who care for older people and to older relatives. Edward, thank you so much for being here. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about you and the Area Agency on Aging and what you do.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be here, for hosting. So, the Area Agency on Aging, we receive funding, federal, state, and local, to provide for needs of older adults. Some of it is direct service that we provide people to call in, and others is contracted work that we work with various agencies. So for the family caregivers, I help family caregivers in Madison, Henderson, Transylvania, and Buncombe counties. And so for Buncombe and Madison counties, I work with the Council on Aging of Buncombe County to help them. For those in Henderson and Transylvania County, I work directly with them. So we do in-home visits, figure out their needs, and our biggest service we offer are respite vouchers.
So, what are respite vouchers? And tell me about your home visits of what that may be. If I, for example, Edward gave you a call and said, "Hi, my mom's aging and I need help." So, tell me a little bit about what that home visit would look like.
So first of all, with the vouchers, or they can be used to help pay for someone to come in to provide a little bit of a break. The amounts are never a huge amount, so it doesn't pay for ongoing in-home care. But caregivers, if they can get a few days off, so these vouchers can be used to hire anyone who does not live with a care receiver, is not the primary caregiver, and does not have like a legal connection, for instance, like a power of attorney. So then when I do an in-home visit, just come in and take a look around, see if everything is safe, the conditions that the caregivers live in and the care receivers, and we just talk about the program.
Wonderful.
And a lot of it is listening.
Mhm.
So many caregivers are like their whole life is around their loved one,
Okay.
and they don't get to interact much with others.
Yeah,
So it's just nice to be able to listen and let them know that they're not the only one struggling, and that it's
absolutely.
okay to have bad days, and we'll be with them on the journey.
Wonderful. So, with that, the first question is, what are the first steps someone should take if they want to age in place and confidently stay at home?
There are several actually. First thing is to do an honest look at the house and see, is it safe and accessible? Unless you have a limitation, you have no idea how hard it can be to maneuver around one's house. So it may sound silly, but I kind of encourage borrow some crutches, a wheelchair, and a sling, and see what it's like for a few days to get around, pretending like you have a leg injury, or you're not able to walk, or you have a stroke, or you can only use one arm, and then take notes to see what needs to improve to make it a little bit easier.
That's a great idea. I did have one of our other experts said if an ambulance or a stretcher or a wheelchair can't move around your house easily and accessibly, then you may not need to stay at home. So that's kind of what you're saying is take it for a test ride.
Yeah,
Wonderful. That's a great
bathroom is
yeah. Oh, yeah, the bathroom. Let's talk about the bathroom and the accessibility there.
can one get in and out of the shower or tub, and is the floor slick? Are there grab bars in place? Say if your hips give out and you need to get off the toilet, is there anything that can safely grab on to pull yourself up? And also think, is there enough space for you and someone else to help you? And it's a very humbling thought to think of, but if you're in that position, can someone really help you while you're in there?
Is this like an official, unofficial home assessment that we've heard about?
No, it's kind of just taking an honest look at one's house
Okay. Okay.
and they have a few things in mind when what to look for safety and maneuverability.
That's great. Those are good. I love the suggestion of crutches or a walker because so many times people don't think about that and they get into a situation and then they're like, oh no, I can't get my walker through the doorway. Or somebody can't get into the bathroom and we can't put in equipment that we need because there's not enough space. So planning ahead and looking at those areas essentially of what you can and can't do with the house. That's a great idea. So, what other mistakes do people often make when they wait too long if they do not or are not proactive like we were talking about, Edward? What other mistakes do people make?
One of the biggest is they wait too long to ask for help. Yeah, especially this area, the mountain mentality. We're independent. We're gonna, suck it up as long as we can. But if you wait too long, then by the time you need help, you're screaming for help, and people are saying, "How can I help you?" I don't know. So overwhelmed. And so if you could be humble and say, "Okay, I can really use some help now," it makes it better. People can be isolated from others, and that's huge. Sometimes bridges are burnt with family and friends. Other times, a lot of times, people when they're younger, they're like, "Oh, they vacation in the mountains, and they retire in the mountains, and oh, that's so great." Except for they're miles away from any family or friends or whoever else was their support system. So that's a significant mistake. Live in a place that is not accessible. They don't have modifications done to their home ahead of time.
Okay.
So if you can be proactive with that, it's hard to do a modification when one's in the need of it.
Right. Right.
So if you think ahead of time, you can actually find the right people to come in and do the job right and what works best instead of throwing something together last minute.
Ah, that makes sense. I love that. Good ideas. Absolutely. So, when someone begins planning, what type of professionals or individuals should they talk to or organizations like Land of Sky?
Honestly, I would one of the first ones would be a financial advisor because it's expensive to age in place and to know what one's resources are. An attorney, especially an elder law attorney, and to make sure one's will is updated in order. Advanced care directives are documented and known. If someone has a stroke or has dementia, it's good to know those wishes ahead of time, like Medicaid eligibility and what it would take to become eligible. Another great resource would be aging life care managers.
Say that
Now,
one
they're a little
more
bit
time, Edward.
aging life care managers.
Okay.
So they're a bit pricey, but you can always schedule like a one time visit to kind of talk things through with them, like where you're at and what are things they need to be thinking about going forward. And also, if you have the resources, they can be a valuable companion in the journey
Okay.
as health changes. And then another for veterans, the veteran service officer in the area. a lot of time veterans say, "Yeah, well, I went to them years ago and they weren't any help." Well, policies change over time, and also as one's health deteriorates, they may become more eligible for help. And the veterans program is like one of the very best as far as resources and assistance there is out there.
Wonderful. And if it is a veteran, whom or how would they reach out? Would they just Google veteran services or
Yeah, look up a veteran service officer for their county,
okay,
and they'll be given phone numbers and email addresses,
great.
and then set up a meeting with them.
So go over those 4 or 5 professionals that you listed. You said, a financial advisor, a
Mhm.
elder law, estate law professional, the veterans coordinator position, that's another professional. You mentioned
Aging life care manager.
aging life care manager. So those were the 4 that I heard of professionals that you would recommend reaching out to.
So yeah, and they're like a lot of people already have really relationships with those professionals. So go ahead and check in with them and from a different perspective now. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, when you retire or what do I need to do like right now? But I think as one gets older, perspective changes and the needs change and life changes too.
And you said not only does life change, Edward, but laws and policies and programs are always changing and always evolving. So it is good to reach out and just do a maintenance update. So, Edward, tell me more about the Area Agency on Aging, Land of Sky, and what type of programs that other people may not be aware of that your company or organization offers.
So at Lane Sky, we have kind of like a wide range of services that we offer. We have ombudsmen, and so they advocate for residents and long-term care facilities. And they're a huge help. We have someone that helps with falls prevention, helps with chronic diseases and illnesses. So she goes around and does presentations and leads classes and gets volunteers to help with these to help people be stronger and healthier in the long term. We have AmeriCorps seniors programs that are very valuable. We have what is it? Foster grandparent program where older adults can be paired with kids at the local schools and like read to them and be a little mentor for them. We have the senior companion program to where older adults volunteer to be with others who need a little bit of extra help around the house and just companionship. And we also have a program with is senior companions for caregivers, which is like a first of its kind anywhere, to where the volunteer gets paired with a caregiver and not the care receiver, so that the caregiver has someone to go along that journey, and they can help with like resources and help them with errands and stuff. We
That's
also have
neat.
project,
That's a neat
yeah,
program.
yeah, and Kelly does a great job with it.
Wonderful.
Then we look at Project Care, which is caregivers alternatives to running on empty, and so they help. That's similar to what I do, but it's dementia specific. So any care receiver has a diagnosis of dementia. Nancy can journey with them with resources and a little bit of respite help too.
Wow. I
And
was not aware of all of those programs, but what really touched me when you were going over those, a lot of those sound like ones individuals can do now. The active adults, retirees in our area can get involved now. And then they are developing those relationships and learning and becoming and involved essentially. So I love that, especially when you were talking about the grandparent program. That's something that people can get involved with now. And that's an amazing program. And I love all the support that you were talking around caregivers themselves and not just the recipient, the one aging. in place, that there's a lot of programs for the caregivers. That's amazing. And the cost of these programs, Edward, do they vary? Are they free? Are they tell us about that.
They're free.
No.
Uh,
Really?
it's, uh it's funded federal and state funds,
Wow.
um, which is why it's important to advocate, call local politicians,
Okay.
local and national, state,
Mhm.
and let them know the importance of these programs so that they keep funded for a long term because the needs, as we all know, are of older adults is just increasing exponentially.
Yes. Yes.
And so, as much funding as we can to support these programs to help as many people as possible, it makes a difference.
It
And
does.
these programs help people keep them out of like long term care. And so, the longer they're able to stay at home, that's the most desirable choice. But it's a money saver too for the families and, you know, for the community in general.
Exactly. I heard a staggering statistic, and I'm sure you've heard something like this too. Over 77% of Americans these days want to age in place. They do not want to go to a facility or a community. And to me, when you have such amazing programs like you have to stay active with the community as a whole and start developing that village and that community and that connection, then you're establishing those things and not waiting to you do have the fall or you're in a dire situation and having to react. So that's really neat. Thank you for telling me about those.
I agree with you too. It's important that people volunteer
Why
in
is
other
that?
ways. And, well, because first of all, it's like whilst one able, while one is able to help others, yeah, everyone needs some help somewhere along the line. And so whether it be Atlantic Sky or there's so many great places like Habitat for Humanity, there are community food banks, congregate, meal sites, libraries, senior centers, just wherever one feels called to or just like an interest in. And then it builds the knowledge as to okay, what is available for when that time comes. And it creates one's own safety net too, because now you're connected with a support system that if something should go south for you, that now you have a community of people that really do care and can help you in your time of need as you were there for others.
Very true. Very well said. And you touched on earlier the loneliness that people experience. And by volunteering and assisting someone else, it gives you the individual a purpose and a direction and a connection. So, volunteering sounds like a win win win, especially with the Agency on Aging, Land of Sky, that has so many incredible, valuable resources. And you did mention some others, and those are all great options of reaching out and volunteering and having a purpose and not isolating yourself. That's really smart. So, when this is kind of a silly question at this point, but when should a family reach out to an organization like Area on Aging?
I think whenever, okay, so if someone's like new to the area as an older adult,
Yes,
it's great to like just learn about what resources are available ahead of time. There are resource directories that are out there and things that we can give people. Also, for family and friends, like if as soon as they notice something a little bit off, maybe with like memory or a loved one's health is starting to decline a bit, reach out, find out what's available, um, and sometimes too, people give us a call and say, "Look, I'm noticing these changes. Where do I begin?"
great.
And we can meet with them on the phone or sometimes in person and just kind of listen to what's going on and offer a good starting point.
Wonderful. It sounds like we are very blessed here in Western North Carolina in our counties in and around the area of all the resources that we have and organizations that are like yours and the volunteer groups and the support and other components. That's just amazing. Would you agree?
Oh, I agree. And and the people in these positions are phenomenal. I mean, there's so many people I work with that their hearts are so full of gold, and they just want nothing more than to serve and help people as best they can.
Wow, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Edward, before we close our conversation out today, is there anything else you would like to share with our readers and listeners?
The biggest thing is don't be isolated. Do not be isolated. Be involved in the community. Reestablish contact with family and friends. If you go to church, see what they offer for volunteer opportunities and other ministries they have.
So start developing your community and your core now and maybe work on those relationships if they're severed and not have a I can do it alone mentality is kind of what I'm hearing you say is it does take a community, a village.
Yeah, and have an emergency plan.
Mm,
Start thinking if something happens, a fall, an accident, mental decline, a hurricane, fire, flood, landslide.
mhm,
We've experienced all that in the last few years that we never thought we'd see.
right, right. So a plan, the what ifs, and we hope they never happen, but having that plan and having a community and knowing what your resources are. Those sound like some great tips.
Yeah, I think that's a great starting point and can get you a lot, make life a lot easier going forward.
That's wonderful. Edward with Land of Sky Area Agency on Aging, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your insights and your thoughts and your experiences. This is such an important conversation. And as you mentioned, we need to have the conversation sooner rather than later if people want to age in place so they know what resources are available for them out there. If you'd like to learn more or explore additional resources or have a question for Edward or the other experts, please go to carolinalivingchoices.com and let us know your questions. We appreciate you being here today and thank you for joining us.